Takes with pace.
Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? This is Marcus, and I am 1/3 of the No Hezzy Hoopcast, and I'm here with my fellas. We're back from holiday break, and so we're excited to be back with you, fellas. How you doing? Black, what's good with you, man? We'll start with you.
Seasons, greetings, fellas. Had a couple weeks off, got to rejuvenate. Leak, man, I promise you, I'm gonna try not to cut you off this week.
Leak, how you doing, big dog?
Man, I'm good, man. Blessed by the best. Family's good. Health is good. Um, I'm ready to talk some hoops with my guys. So yeah, man, we back in it. We back in it. How you doing, Mark? How you feeling?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. Day off, so I'm feeling really good. I'm excited to be on with you two fellas, and definitely excited to talk hoops, man. So let's get to it. We in our group chat, let's let the people in. We got our own lingo, right? And so we like to call these teams that are in the NBA and they may be perpetually mediocre. We like to call that the purgatory. So we're gonna talk about the teams that we feel are in that perpetual state of mediocrity or in the purgatory. We're gonna get to that. So let's kind of go down the list. Let's run it down. I'm gonna start with you, Leak, to get your take, man. Let's start with the Bulls. It seems like they're always just kind of can never get over that hump. What are your thoughts on the Bulls and what can they do, man?
Man, so the Bulls are one of the many teams that
Yes.
are in basketball hell right now, which we like to call purgatory. All right. Um, the Bulls, they're in an interesting situation because they're not too far off. You
Right.
got a guy like DeMar DeRozan, average 30 points a game or something close to it. Zach LaVine, he's a 27, 28 point per game scorer. You got
Right.
Billy Donovan, highly touted, coming out of Florida. You know what I mean? Did his thing with KD and Russ for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You got some young guys that you draft like Ayo. You got Caruso. These guys aren't far off, but I do believe that they do need their point guard. They need Lonzo Ball. All right. And that's another level of purgatory that he's in personally because he hasn't been able to be on the floor,
Right.
So I think once they get their whole thing glued together and they get some time, it's not going to be like instant, release, instant, what were the instant, justification, you know what I mean? They're not going to be saved by grace instantly, you know what I mean?
Right.
However, you can start to move out of the purgatory ranks with a team like Chicago. Once they get their point guard back, he gets the floor general, he gets to be the floor general, organize and orchestrate the offense. And it looks like they're actually working with something over there. Then they can see what they got. But right now, they're basically in hell with good clothes on. You know what I mean?
Right. Black, what you think about Bulls, man?
I do. I want to clarify something with purgatory as well.
Okay.
Being in purgatory doesn't necessarily mean you're the worst team in the NBA. There's a range there, right? Where you could even be a contender, right? You could be a team that is perpetually, second round, even, conference finals exit.
Now,
So
see, you're going to have to explain that, Black, because I do not understand the logic and the reasoning behind that.
Well, in my view, you escape purgatory when your team wins a championship.
Oh, my gosh. If that's the case, every team's in purgatory then, right? Except for one.
I mean, I'm giving it about 20 seasons. If you haven't sniffed that level of play in 20 seasons, in my view, you're in purgatory. I mean, that's where I'm at with it. But anyways, Chicago has been in perpetual purgatory since the MJ era, right? I mean, they had the Eddie Curry, Ben Gordon era, right? They had, Jamal Crawford at one point, right? They had the Derrick Rose, Kirk Heinrich, Joakim Noah era, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've been in the hunt, in the mix. They've been able to remain competitive.
Oh, yeah.
But they just haven't been able to get over that hump. Unfortunately, they were victims of Bron, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bron wreaked havoc on the Eastern Conference for almost 20 seasons, right? So that being said, bringing it to now, Leak, I want to piggyback off what you said. I mean, I think they were banking on not only having Vooch, not only drafting well, not only getting DeRozan and Levine, but having a responsible point guard in Lonzo Ball, and they just haven't had him. I mean, he pretty much got hurt right at the beginning of this thing. And when they were all playing together, I mean, they looked like they had something, right? They looked like they had potential to make a solid run at the chip. So I think with him out and with some other, injury issues, and, also, I mean, shoot, for what it's worth, Zach LaVine hasn't given them everything they've asked for, right? They're paying Zach LaVine to, help usher them into a new era of hoop. They want Zach LaVine to be, if he's not 1A, he's 1B, right? To DeRozan. I mean, they just benched him a few games ago. They just benched him in the fourth quarter. So I think they just have, kind of flew under the expectations, and it starts with the point guard and works its way out, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, I agree with both you guys. Made some good points. I think for me, the Bulls has just been snake bitten, man. That injury bug going from D Rose, like that was their opportunity there to really get out of this purgatory section of the league. And then now, like Leak, you were saying with Lonzo, man, it's just unfortunate. And I think injuries are the biggest reason why the Bulls, for me, are in this hell, as we like to call it. So, fellas, now we got to talk about this team. Now, I feel like they may have been in purgatory for probably one of the longest periods of time. The New York Knicks.
Yeah.
What for me? I guess I'll start and then pass to you guys. For me, the Knicks, it's from the top down with them. It's been, people have lamented their management, James Dolan, and how he runs the franchise. I just think they have terrible management. They do terrible in the draft. They've done terrible in free agency, going back to Isaiah Thomas picking everybody off the scrap heap. So for me, the Knicks, I don't see an end in sight for them. But Black Man, we'll go around this way with you this time, man. What you think about the Knicks?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much most of my life, the Knicks have been bad. Mm-hmm. They had a good run with Sprewell and Allen Houston and Larry Johnson. Mm-hmm. They were the gritty Knicks at that point, right? Right. Put your Tim
Anthony
boots
Mason
on, you know what I mean?
Right.
On the turnpike with it,
right.
Fresh off the block with it. I remember that team being good, but I also remember them for the fight they got into it with Miami,
right.
Like those are the moments I think about on the good end of the spectrum, mm-hmm. and everything outside of that is just chaos. Like you said, the Isaiah Thomas run, that didn't work out. I mean, they had Linsanity and Melo, right? They cashed out Melo, hoping he was going to help them ascend to championship status. That didn't work out. I agree, man. I just feel like from ownership on down, it's just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And stars don't even want to go there, right? Like you would think that New York being a big market would attract, a Kevin Durant, would attract a LeBron James, would attract these guys who you can pretty much bank on as a playoff contender, as an individual. You know what I mean? So that being said, I mean, you look at their squad now. I mean, they cashed out for Jalen Brunson. Now, don't get it twisted. Brunson is a very solid player in this league. Brunson, was one of the top playoff performers last season. But Jalen Brunson isn't going to turn the tide of your franchise. No. Julius Randle isn't going to turn the tide of your franchise. RJ Barrett, who they drafted to be the guy. They drafted him to be Ja. They drafted him to be Zion. He's underperforming, right? He's looking more like he's more Andrew Wiggins than he is, Zion Williamson, right? So like that being said, you know, I don't think they're coming out of purgatory. League, I'm gonna pass it to you, but I think this thing is here to stay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm pretty much with you on that. They've been probably one of the most disappointing franchises since I've been watching basketball. I ain't gonna lie. We look at a little bit of the paper trail on the Knicks, and we see that the Knicks have got out the first round one time since the year 2000. All right, so 22 years they've been out the first round one time. They won a total of 16 games in the playoffs since the year 2000. All right, so that's really
crazy.
bad. What we're talking about right now is, purgatory. We're talking about Hell's Kitchen, literally. The Knicks literally, this is their abode. All right, they're very comfortable here. Dolan has the pitchfork and the horns, and the picture on his wall. The little nigga, he has a bust with horns on it. You know what I mean? Jalen Brunson, I like him a lot as a player. All right, averaging 21 points in the game. He's doing pretty well, But like you said, Black, he's not going to turn the tides of your franchise. Neither is Julius Randle, Julius Handle, the guy with the small, big blunts, small hands. He's not going to do it either. Neither is Mitchell Robinson. Neither is R.J. Barrett. All these guys are decent players. Do not get me wrong. But we're talking about competing at a high level in today's league. There's some strong players in today's league, and a lot of them have even stronger cultures that they're playing for, and a lot of them have even stronger sets that they're running to get their bread and butter off every time. The Knicks just don't. They're not competent. They just don't get to that place. So, I would consider the Knicks, Hell's Kitchen. That's where they lay at. Very disappointing. Mark, or what do you think? Did you kind of touched on them already, huh?
Yeah, I jumped out on them on the first, at the beginning. But man, the Knicks are just horrible. And I too agree that I feel like there's no end in sight with them. With these other teams, there may be some more optimism, but with the Knicks, there's not much there.
And one last thing, it also says something that Kyrie and Kevin Durant chose Brooklyn as opposed to the Knicks. It lets you know right there that there's a new sheriff in town when it comes to New York City basketball.
Great point. Lee, I'm gonna be coming right back to you on this next one because we're talking about the Charlotte Hornets, and famously, one of your favorite young players, LaMelo Ball. What's going on with the Hornets, man? And in a deeper question for you, Lee, specifically, are the Balls cursed? Because they cannot seem to stay on the court. But what's your thoughts on Charlotte?
I mean, look, man, we're talking about purgatory. We're talking about curses. You know what I mean? You got to talk about the Charlotte Hornets. You got to talk about Michael Jordan as an owner. You know what I mean? You got to talk about the health of the Balls. You know what I mean? At this point, you got to talk about
the fortitude, right?
Lightweight, say. You got to talk about this testicular health, right? of these ball handlers, you know what I mean? That LeVar has been dishing out. You know what I mean? It's. I mean, they're so bad. They're so, as a franchise, they're so bad that this testicular cancer is very close to prostate. You know what I mean? It's very close. It's very close. That's how bad they've been.
Yo, you got me dead. You got me dead right now.
So LaMelo Ball, he is their saving grace. He's the one that's supposed to have the testicular fortitude to lift the franchise, so to speak. However, he seems like he's having a little difficulty staying healthy this season. Yeah. With the 2 ankle injuries. But other than that, I do like the way he's been playing.
Yeah.
I like Terry Rozier with him. I don't think that's a long-term answer, obviously, but I do like that as an early running mate for LaMelo. I really like Miles Bridges with him, but even he's dealing with the curses, right? You know what I mean? He can't. He's filling up the prison houses. You know what I mean? So he's dealing with the curses too. Michael Jordan.
He's trying to get out of that right now.
He's
Right?
trying to he's trying to get out. Michael Jordan being the borrower and not the lender. He's dealing with the curses as an owner. You know what I mean? So right now we're looking at Charlotte having a way potentially out of purgatory if they can stay cool, get them some ice water in hell, stay cool and draft Victor.
Yes.
That is the only way. All right. Other than that, there's no light in sight. All right. And LaMelo Ball will probably be leaving once his contract is up. The guy's not worried about money. Listen, that's the last thing the guy is worried about. All right. He got $100 million allegedly from Puma. All right. He's had his own shoe since he was 16, making earnings off of those sales. All right. The reality show, right, with Facebook, millions of dollars. I heard they're gearing up for the second season now, or for the second spinoff of that reality show. Right. That's nice. More bread. So Melo's not hurting for bread. Lonzo's not hurting for bread. These guys aren't wired to be money hungry. So I can see LaMelo leaving Charlotte when his time is up, if they do not land Victor. That's the only thing they have to sell right now. The landing of Victor Wembanyama. All right. So that's my take on Charlotte. They're dealing with the curses in a heavy way right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. Black, what you think, man?
Man, I would just say Michael Jordan has been the Michael Jordan of bad GMs, right? I mean, the guy can't draft a broom for a storage closet. You know what I mean? Like, what is this guy doing? Like, for somebody who is so good on the court, right? I mean, they called him Black Jesus, right? For somebody who is biblical on the court,
right.
He has been satanic in the boardroom. All right. No, but seriously, it starts with him, right? It starts and ends with him. He hit a bullseye with LaMelo, right? But I mean, how long has Michael Jordan been in the front office for Charlotte? I mean, he was there when they were the Bobcats. He drafted Emeka Okafor. Remember that name?
That's right.
He's somewhere in Istanbul right now.
Right.
We don't know where he is.
Right. Okay? He's guarding Dwight in Taiwan right
now. So it starts with Michael Jordan, man. I think we have to put a spotlight on him. I think for all his skill and knowledge of the game, he's put Charlotte into a hole. And now they're trying to work their way out of it. Like Leek said, if they don't get Victor Wembanyama, I mean, I don't really see them getting better anytime soon. Definitely not in the LaMelo era. So that being said, it will behoove them to get this ship righted ASAP. Otherwise, they're going to remain in purgatory. They're going to have a wing in purgatory. And I'm not talking about Miles Bridges. Right. I mean, they're gonna have an office and a corridor.
That's right.
Right there, right next to this next team that we're
right.
No, but Mark, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I think, like you were saying earlier, Black, there are levels in purgatory, right? And these guys are definitely on the bottom tier of this purgatory. I mean, they're here to stay. They're here to stay. And it has to be a draft pick that does for them, because no free agent is signing to play in Charlotte. It's not happening.
If Steph didn't do it, if Steph didn't do it already, it's not happening.
Right. It's not happening. So we're gonna go to the next team. Let me get my notes here. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Hold on, I'm waiting for the ticker to go around at this point.
Hold on, Mark. I can help you out too.
Oh, Washington. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about them. What do we think about Washington, man? They went from Wizards to Bullets. I mean, it's just, I don't know what it is about Washington, but I don't think I've ever seen them be, going back to the 60s or 70s or something like that. But the Wizards, what are we thinking about them, man? Because I think they're here to stay. I think they've set up shop as well here in Purgatory. Black, we'll start with you.
I mean, we could blame MJ again, right? we could blame MJ for their current status, right? I mean, he drafted and no disrespect to the brother, because he's since coming to his own, right?
Yeah, we don't want to be in this crosshairs,
right?
Shout out to Kwame Brown, actually.
Kwame Brown.
I'm gonna put respect on Kwame's name, but he drafted Kwame number 1, right? So from the gates, it just wasn't a good look for Washington, for the Wizards, right? But looking at him now, I mean, he got, what's up, Melo?
Yeah, Melo.
He's chilling.
Melo lightweight becoming the no hezzy mascot, right?
I know, right? Right. Real talk.
No, but I mean, in their current status, I mean, their best era was the John Wall, Brad Bill era, right? I mean, they were competitive. They were putting together some nice little playoff runs. Couldn't get out of the second round, really, but they were still entertaining to watch. I mean, who was their coach at that point? Was it Scotty Brooks?
I think Scotty Brooks.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So they were able to put together a pretty entertaining and successful run. I mean, they also had Gilbert Arenas, right? Mm-hmm. The Gilbert Arenas run, they were at least entertaining. And so they pulled guns out in the locker room.
Yeah.
Shout out to Javaris Crittington, right? Hope he's doing well.
Right.
But Leak, I know you're gonna unload because this is close to home. So I'm gonna keep it short, but I just think that they're another one of those teams that's not gonna get a star, right? Mm-hmm. They have to draft well and or trade for a star. I mean, they did have Russell Westbrook, but I mean, we see he's on a journey right now, right? Mm-hmm. Russell Westbrook is on his downslide.
Absolutely.
At one point there were talks that KD might pull up, right? Because he's from that area as well. But they're just not going to get a star. And they've hitched their wagon to Bradley Beal. He's essentially their Dame Lillard, right? Loyalty. They're trying to reward him for his loyalty. But to keep it real, I mean, he hasn't won a game that mattered since he's been there. So I just think in their current state, they're going to pretty much have to ride the coattails that are Bradley Beal's and hope that they sell tickets, because I don't think they're focused on winning a championship at any point soon. But Leak, you might have a different take.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty much there with you. Get out of there. I think the Wizards are bad, real bad. Michael Jackson. All right. Bradley Beal, I like him as a player. It's cute when he comes off a down screen, but he's not moving the needle, especially over there. That he's gonna have to leave if he wants to find more success than what he's already had. I do remember when they used to compete with Boston in like the second round of the playoffs back when John Wall was healthy. And that was pretty exciting. It was almost like, that was the Bradley Beal, John Wall, Martin Gortat, Then right? You know what I mean? It was a little back when they had that team together. They weren't bad, but they weren't good either, and they didn't continue the upswing with that. They didn't continue the upswing with that. They actually fell apart and got worse. So just to add some context, the Washington Wizards haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals since the 70s. All right. So and they're not close.
Nah. Me just beat Melo
right now. Melo's like whooping my tail right now. But also this team, Kevin Durant, I did want him to go there. I did think that would have been a good look for him to go with John Wall, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Martin Gortat. I thought that would have been a cool little look. This is prior to him going to Golden State. Golden State. When it was the KD sweepstakes. I thought that the Wizards were a viable option for him to go close on, but he said he didn't want to do that, obviously. But the Wizards is just bad, and they're not fun to watch. The jerseys aren't nice, right?
No.
You know what I mean? Like Bradley Beal, not exciting. You know what I mean? Yeah, he can shoot a jump shot. Yeah, he's got a step back and a side step, but I mean, really, like he's just not that entertaining to me. He's like Jimmy Butler with the sliders on offense. You know what I mean? Like I've seen it all. And there's other guys who do what he does better. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not really feeling the Wizards, and that's actually the capital of purgatory right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, the biggest tell of a purgatory team is when the solo all-star doubles down on the loyalty big contract. That right there is all you need to know, boy.
That's when you're not signing anybody either, right?
Exactly.
Like you're not going to be able to. That's also something to talk about with them as well. Is they can't afford anybody else. Like even if they wanted to get somebody else, they can't because they have Bradley Beal's contract, and now they have Porzingis' contract, and they're probably going to cash out Porzingis when his contract's up.
Absolutely. Well, fellas, let's get to the Thunder, another meddling team. Now they have had a lot of draft picks. They have a good GM or what's considered a good GM. Why can't they get over him? I think it's the biggest glaring thing is, hey, they lost two, Hall of Fame players within the past, however many 5-6 years. 3. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Leak. So that's probably the big answer. But what do you guys think they can do to get out of purgatory? Or why do you think they're in purgatory? Leak, I'll start with you on this one.
Oh man, you gotta ride shy. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
This guy's averaging 30 points a game right now. He's looking like I like him a lot. He's a really good player. Can shoot it, smooth, handle, create off the dribble. He's unselfish. He's got great size. He can play lead guard or off guard. He's got playoff experience. I do think he's going to be the one. As long as they don't get rid of him, I do think he's going to lift them out. A lot of these teams that we're talking about, the future is not very bright for them, or it's murky at best. I don't feel that way with Oklahoma City. Okay. The GM knows how to make a move, right? Lightweight, a choreographer, right? He knows how to make moves. All right. Okay. I think he's gonna be I'm in rare form right now. Yeah. I think Chet Holmgren is gonna be a plus for that team.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
But they're not relying on Chet, and that's the good thing. They're not really he's got time to fill out his frame. It's clearly a slow game with the Thunder, but they got the Jersey game is fire, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've got a history of being in the playoffs in the recent future. They've got a great player who looks like he's going to be an all-star this year, if not the next 2 years, perennially. They could make a move to get a guy. They can make a move to get a top 20 NBA player at any moment. They've already done that with PG in the past, and they're not afraid to lose a player either. They'll get rid of a player knowing that they could bounce back. You know what I mean? So I got high hopes for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I think they got some strong young players, particularly in Shai, and also Lou Dort. I think he's a really good young defender. Josh Giddey, I think he's going to be an excellent playmaker. And then Porzingis. They even got one cat. I'm not sure his name, but he's got an afro, but he's been playing really well. I think he's a rookie. Trey Mann, he's a young guy. You know what I'm talking about, Mark?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't think of his name off the top.
Yeah, so I think they're on the way. They're heading in the right direction, but they gotta ride shy. That's how I'm feeling about the OKC Thunder.
Yeah, Black, what's your thoughts?
Well, we could say that Sam Presti is a great GM, but we could also hate on the fact that he literally lost 3 Hall of Fame players.
Yeah.
He chose he chose to let James Harden walk for Ibaka, which in hindsight it was a questionable choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
He let KD go, and then he got Chris Paul, he got Paul George, lost them, lost Russell Westbrook. We could say that he's a great GM, but he has a whole lot of picks, and I mean, you only get so many picks, right? Like you can only use so many picks. So he's gonna have to make a move. I think for me, I still agree with Leak. They do have upside. So I think it's important to give OKC grace. But my eye is on what they do next. Because what they do next is super important. I mean, they have to keep Shy. They in my opinion, if they get rid of Shy, they're taking they're moving on a different timeline. You know what I mean? Shout out to King the Conqueror. They're on a different timeline if they move away from Shy, right? Because that means they're just going young at that point. So I think we're pretty much on his contract.
Yeah.
Right. For them to get better. And if they don't improve by the time his contract is ready to re-up, then I say, they get a wing in Purgatory. And then I start looking at Presti with those with the eye emojis. You know what I mean? Well, I'm gonna give them grace right now. I'll give them grace.
Yeah. I think we could all agree on that. Give them some grace. But they're on the clock. I think that's pretty much what you're saying, Black. They're on the clock.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Basically, yeah.
So let's go to Indiana. I mean, it doesn't get more middle America than Indiana, right? And they're very middle of the pack. What do we think about Indiana? It seems like they were kind of in rebuild mode, purposeful rebuild mode. But aside from that, what are we thinking about them long term? Black, I'll start with you. Me personally, it doesn't get any more average than the Indiana Pacers. I feel like that's where they belong. Black, what you think, man?
I mean, Indiana hasn't moved the needle for me for so long.
Since Artest, right?
Yeah, like they had some great teams in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
They put together some great teams, and they were well coached in the early 2000s. Of course, they played the finals against the Lakers. They lost, but they had a really good team. They had Rick Smits, they had Reggie Miller, they had Mark Jackson, Travis Best. You know what I mean? We can go up their roster. Even going towards the Ron Artest era, Jalen Rose. Austin Crozier, you know what I mean? We remember those teams. But since then, they've just been, they're a comet in space and with no planet to hit. You know what I mean? Like they're just floundering. And it seems like they've chose up on a new rebuild. Right? They traded for Halliburton. They traded Sabonis away, who was one of their cornerstones, right? Was an all-star for them. Traded him away to the Kings for Buddy Hield, who's a trade piece, right? Who's been in trade talks since he's been in Indiana.
Yeah.
And Halliburton, which was, I'm assuming who they really wanted to get. So it seems like they chose up on their point guard, right? They have a ball handler. Now they've got to fill out the rest of the roster. But I feel like, other than Benedict Mathurin, there's really not anybody that you can say is, a foundational piece. Right now it looks like they got 2 pieces of a young core. I don't think any superstars are going to be making their way to Indiana unless they can finesse a trade, But I mean, what are you going to get for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner? What are you really going to get for that, right?
Yeah, not much.
So and let's be very clear. My sources have shown me some of the packages they put together for that, and it's not looking great. All right, it's nothing to write home about. All right. So that being said, yes, they have some exciting young players, but I don't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel for them. At least within the next 5 seasons. I don't know. I don't know what their potential is, but in my view, I'm thinking a play-in contender within the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think so. Leak, man, what you think about these Pacers?
Yeah, man. So, like you said, Mark, this is Middle America. This is as plain as it gets. You know what I mean? This is buttered toast, right?
Not even butter.
Yeah, not even butter. Yeah, just plain white toast. You know what I mean? However, I got high hopes for Indiana. All right.
Wow. Okay.
And I didn't. Yeah. I didn't think I'd be the one to put on a cake for this little town. Where Michael Jackson made his name.
Right.
Shout out to Freddie Gibbs as well, right?
Yeah.
Right. I do think they're on to something, and the reason why, like Black said, there's 2 guys there that are moving the needle for this team. Right now, Indiana's sitting at 4th in the Eastern Conference, and they've won 8 of their last 10. All right. Tyrese Halliburton is having quite a season, if I say so myself. Right now, he's averaging He's averaging 20 points a game, 11 assists a game. He's shooting 38 from 3, almost 50% from the field. He's almost at 90% from the free throw line. He's controlling the game. 11 assists a game. He's controlling the game. Yeah. Any guy putting up 20 and 10 on a consistent basis, that's really good guard play right there. Mm-hmm. And then you got the rookie, Benedict Mathurin. All right, this guy's averaging 20 points a game on 28 minutes as a rookie. This is his first taste of NBA action, and he's thriving. All right, you look at the per 36 minutes. Obviously, you got to get this guy some more time at some point. Per 36 minutes is 25 points per game. Benedict is shooting 40% plus from the three-point line. All right, strong 6'5" wing player, knows how to get a bucket. If he's playing, he could fizzle out. Absolutely. We've seen guys come out strong and then kind of fall away to the wayside. A la Michael Carter Williams, Tyreek. What's the guy from the Kings? I forgot his last name, but what's Tyreek's last name?
Tyreek Evans, right?
Oh, Tyreek Evans.
Yeah, Tyreek Evans.
Yeah.
We've seen guys come out strong, then end up having, very forgettable careers. But Benedict does look legit, and he's in a place like Indiana where there's no thrills to it. It's just hard work. It's just grind, and you gotta dig out those wins. So I'm liking what Indiana's doing right now. I think Tyrese Halliburton, I'll go ahead and say it. I think he's a generational talent.
Wow.
I think he's a generational guard. 6'5", 6'6". He has he's got an awkward flow to his game. That's kind of hard to stop when a guy plays unethical, even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His code of ethics is a little different from the other guards around the league. He has an awkward shot. He has kind of a quirky kind of style to him, but he's still very responsible. 20 and 11 in your 3rd year. That's really strong. So they're getting the dubs to prove it. So I do think that they have a way out. I think there's light shining down on them at their little spot in purgatory. So I do see them becoming a better team in the future. And I see Tyrese Halliburton being one of the top 3 to 5 point guards in the league in the next 3 years. So if Benedict Mathurin can keep it up, then he'll be able to add to that as well. But I do think they have a sure thing in the building block of Tyrese Halliburton.
Man, Leak with the supreme optimism there. Caught us all off guard a little. All right. All right, I'm looking at the bright side with you on that one, League. You might have something there.
Definitely finessed a little change in me. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, fellas, let's go to the Spurs, man. Let's talk about Spurs. We know, I think, did they play the Lakers? Have they played the Lakers
Three times
twice.
recently? Last 7 days, yeah. 3
Crazy.
times.
So they got spanked yesterday. 6-15 on the year. Popovich, it looks like Popovich is just, I don't know what he's doing, but he embodies purgatory to me, right? He's waiting for this to be all over. So what are we thinking about with the Spurs?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like teams like the Spurs, y'all, like, and we talked about the Bulls, who that have hyper success for decades. This is kind of what you get. You know what I mean? It's your turn now. That's how I feel about the Spurs. Black, let's start with you, man. What you think?
I was gonna say the same thing. Not many teams in the NBA have or will have the success that the Spurs did in the short period of time that they did. I mean, they were blessed by the hoop gods, right? I mean, it's almost
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
hoop Zeus sculpted,
Right.
the perfect players
Right.
for Pop to handle and manipulate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have generational player after generational player after generational player. I think this is where we're at now. It can only go on for so long.
Yeah.
And this isn't LA. This isn't a market where players are like super hyped on going to. This is San Antonio. Not many of us really know what San Antonio is like.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what that nightlife is hitting for. You know what I mean? I feel like if they were to land a superstar, it would be solely to play with Greg Popovich, solely to be coached or allegedly handled, right, by Greg Popovich, right. Other than that, I mean, I think what they're trying to do right now is tank for Victor Wembanyama. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that that's what they're doing. Yeah. Do they play up from time to time based on Pop's Hall of Fame coaching ability? Absolutely. I don't think Pop's intention is to go out there and stink up the joint. Right. So the players are going to definitely play up. They've actually got some decent little draft picks over the last few years. You got Vassell, who looks like he has a little spark. You're right. Pirtle. He's a trade piece right now. He's somebody that I'm hearing Golden State talk about. I'm hearing the Lakers talk about that. So they've got some players, right? But I think right now what they're doing is they're trying to tank properly so that the league will show them favor and bless them with another generational talent, right?
That way, tank properly.
Yeah.
This is like the equivalent of like, a good Christian, right? That, they fast, they give tithes, in hopes that the Lord will help, in their circumstance, right?
Right.
So that's where San Antonio is at for me. I don't think they're going to be down bad for long, especially if Pops remains with the franchise in some capacity or someone from the Pop tree, right? Because that tree is pretty extensive as well, isn't it?
Got a lot of branches.
His little branches are all over the NBA, having success, right?
It's a strong root.
So I think San Antonio, out of all of these teams, one, like you said earlier, this is just karma, right? And two, are not going to be bad for too long. So, it's not even really, these struggles aren't even really going to affect the fan base like that. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. No, those are some great points right there, Black. Leak, what you think, man?
Yeah, so right now the Spurs are sitting in the 15th spot in the West. So they're pretty bad. They're 1 of 9 in their last 10. And this is pretty much what we've seen from them the last 2 seasons, kind of, right? Like, it's a very bad team. And I'm almost thinking if Pop could have it his way, he probably would have swapped that tenure around, having the worst of it at the beginning and then 17 straight years of success and walk away from it in that manner, right? You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I know he's losing a lot of hair right now. He barely got it, but I know he's losing a lot right now. They did. You know, they were extremely blessed. I would say they had the luckiest pick ever with, you know, having David Robinson, getting Tim Duncan, then winning the championship right away. You know, being able to get Tony Parker, being able to get Manu Ginobili, you know, even being able to get Kawhi Leonard, which leads me to my next point. You can't, how would I say? You can't disrespect the anointed hooper and get away with it. All right. All right. When you do your prophets like that, right? Curses will fall upon you, and that's what they did to Kawhi Leonard and Dennis. Let's not discount Uncle Dennis, because he was in the word as well. If we all remember, right? You know, for them to gang up and do a coup on Kawhi Leonard almost, right?
Yeah.
With Tony Parker leading the charge, Kawhi having his hand up Tony Parker's back and having him handle the media and spin narratives, right? To destroy Kawhi Leonard's name, almost make it no more remembrance, and then send him off to purgatory, right?
Right.
You know,
That was the goal.
Yeah. That was the goal. But Kawhi Leonard, like the anointed hooper that he is, rose up out of the ashes, right? Stronger than he was before, and led Toronto to their first ever championship. And that's why he now has the keys and carte blanche to call the shots in the Clippers, the organization.
Well, we'll get into that.
We'll get in. Well, yeah, we will get into that actually. Yeah. Because I do think they were unlawfully put on this list. All right. The Clippers would be considered in the book of life, and Black wanted to put them in purgatory for some strange reason. So they've got living waters coming out of their cisterns over there. I don't know what this guy's talking about. But back to the Spurs, this is what happens when you do your prophets like that. So Popovich is simply reaping what he sowed. You know, and it didn't have to be like this. San Antonio was poised to continue their dominance throughout. Remember, they had a Kevin Durant-led Warriors team on the ropes before Kawhi Leonard went down with the ankle injury. All right,
with his first injury, right?
Yeah. With his
we'll get into that. I'll let you cook.
Yeah, so they were up by like 25 that playoff game before he went down to Zaza's, sinful move.
Shot.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't right, and we can still talk about how that changed the trajectory of the league up until this day. But yeah, I think this is well deserved for the Spurs. I do not want them to get Victor. I do not. They do have some bright young players over there. I like Devin Hassel. There's a couple other players that will remain nameless. You know what I mean? For reasons that I mentioned prior. You know, Pop still leading the organization. I'm taking my hands off of that. I'm not dealing with that. But the Spurs, they're in for a long road. I really feel like that. They're in for a long road. Even if they get Scoop, who knows if they'll know how to handle him? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not looking forward to what the Spurs are going to be doing in the next 10 years.
Yeah, it feels like the Spurs are just starting their purgatory run. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on them.
It's only just begun.
So we're going to stay in Texas, and we're going to talk about the Houston Rockets. I don't even know where to start with them, man. They got some nice young talent, but I think they're going to be here for a while as well. Ever since they lost James, it's just kind of been, I don't know. They just kind of been, they had that John Wall season. That was very bizarre, right? Where they kind of was a mutiny. I mean, it was just weird. It's just been very foggy and cloudy with the Rockets. But Black, we'll start with you, man. What you think about the Rockets and their purgatory run?
Man, I have no clue the direction that they're headed in, right? Like, at least with the OKC Thunder, let's say, there is a idea of what they want to do, right? They have some semblance of order there.
Right.
Whereas with Houston, you know, they've got some good, talented young players, but like, do they fit together? Like, is that going to be your young core, or are you guys like hoping to like? I mean, right now they're either number 1 or 2 for worst team in the NBA.
Yeah.
So we're talking about having, you know, 3 or 4 seasons in a row where they've been, you know, top 3 lotto pick at this point. It doesn't seem like the trajectory is headed in a direction towards winning. Their culture also doesn't seem conducive for, you know, honorable hoop, if you will. Very street ball culture driven, it seems. So, you know, I mean, all that to say, man, it just seems very chaotic to me. And I feel like they're in the thick of purgatory and they're going to be there for a while. They had some good runs, right? You know, Stevie
Excellent
franchise,
runs.
right? We all remember that era.
Right.
You know, they drafted Yao Ming, right? Yao Ming had a good run. T-Mac.
Yeah.
I mean, he scored 13 points in 13 seconds or something like that. They had some exciting runs, but they were even then, right. Even then, they were perpetual second round exits, right? Yeah. I just feel like, you know, Morey had a lightning in a bottle situation with James Harden. James Harden was able to hack his way into, you know, NBA superstardom, if you will.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that is.
but I mean, you know, I think the boat might have passed them by, and I think that they're going to be in purgatory for a little while now.
Yeah. Leak, what you think, man?
Leak, I watched Leak just surprise us with
some
right?
No, man, you know, I'm pretty much with you guys. I mean, they do have talent. I do like Jalen Green. He's a high flyer. He could fill it up. You know, he's only gonna get better. He's gonna be a great transition scorer, a real athletic player. They've also got I forgot the point guard's name. The guy who's masquerading as point guard over there. What's his name? Kevin Porter Jr. Right?
Porter Jr. Right.
Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. You know, that guy's obviously he's talented. Shout out to Brickley. You know what I mean? That's one of his guys. But you know, they even got the rookie that they just drafted from Auburn. You know what I mean? He's Jabari
Smith.
Jabari Smith.
Yeah. So they've got some talent, you know, but the fit isn't there for me. The mentality's not there for me. The culture's not there for me. You know, street ball, you know, I could possibly see a semi-automatic in a locker room at some point.
Definitely some off-court drama. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. There's lots of swag over substance, you know what I mean, with Jalen. I just don't think you know, Eric Gordon is looking like get me out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's not really
Gordon looking like Fred Sanford.
It's not a vibe over there. It's not. You know, the coach, I think he almost came to blows with Kevin Porter Jr. last season. You know, it's just not a vibe over there. So, you know, I don't see Houston bouncing out. I see them blowing that situation up, actually. I see them making moves to try to get rid of some guys and bring in assets. I see them taking on horrible contracts. I see them turning into that kind of situation. You know what I mean? I see them really digging their feet in that purgatory, you know what I mean? That purgatory palette, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not watching for Houston. I do like the high flying of Jalen Green. Like I said, he's an exciting player to me. I really do think he's an exciting player. Yeah. But you know, just the mentality, the fit, you know, the degeneracy, you know, you know, the OG feeling like his voice isn't heard, you know what I mean? It just you know, trying to get physical with the coach, you know what I mean? It's just not something, you know, it's not something I'm into. Even Silas, the coach, he seems like a pretty docile kind of guy, you know what I mean? Like that guy's it doesn't look like he has any type of mean streak to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
I just don't see it working over there. I see that whole thing getting blown up, guys getting traded, coaches getting fired, the whole nine.
Yeah, it's Armageddon is in progress in Houston for sure. Fellas, now we go into this next team, man. And I was thinking about what I would say to really, explain my feelings towards this team. And I said, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let him say it.
You get paid for 82. They pay you for 82. They pay you for 10 exhibition games. They pay you for the playoffs. They don't pay you to play 70. They pay you to play 82. You understand? And then it says something about you on both sides of the ball. You know what kind of stamina you got to be? You know what kind of shape you got to be? You know what's got to be in your heart to play 82? Ain't no fucking trainer sit me down. Shut your ass up, be the trainer, take the ankles, and move.
They pay you to play 82. Spoken from KG himself. Black, I'm gonna start with you, man. What you think about these Clippers, man? That's all I got to say about it. What do you think?
Listen, man, the Clippers, I mean, they have a plaque for most consecutive years on Purgatory, in my opinion.
High level Purgatory, right, Black?
I mean, we could go back to, Sterling, right? To the Sterling era, right? I mean, we could look up the video of Sterling going in on Magic Johnson, and that could be my whole take, right? Because that's what that represents their franchise, right?
Absolutely.
They've since moved on. They got Steve Ballmer. He's yelling on the sidelines like a madman every time the Clippers do something good. You had CP. The best run they had was with CP, Blake Griffin, and JJ Redick. That was the best run they had. Shout out to DeAndre Jordan as well. They just were victims of being in the Golden State era, right? The Golden State for them would be like what the Cavs were for Toronto, right? It was one of those situations where they were just not good enough, right? And so now we fast forward to their current situation, right? Going back to what Lee said about Kawhi Leonard, essentially blessing Toronto with a microwave chip, right? That chip gave Kawhi the bargaining piece he needed in order to predicate the contract that he received from the Clippers. And it is of my sources that he negotiated a certain amount of games played. He went in with the intentions of saying, listen, I'm going to build in my load management. I'm building in my load management because I've earned that right. I get to fly private with my family. If I don't feel like playing, if I don't feel up to playing, I don't need a second opinion at this point. I am the second opinion. All right.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. We got Kawhi Leonard, who doesn't feel like he needs to play in order to build chemistry with his team in order to make a chip run. He feels like he could just come in whenever, right? And if it ain't that, Lee, then he's got an injury problem at this point.
He's hexed.
Because if it wasn't the knee, it's the ankle, right? Now we have an ankle situation. And then you got Paul George, who is trying to piggyback off the Kawhi contract, right? Now he wants the Kawhi contract.
Yeah, this dude is going in right now.
Now Paul George is saying, yo, if Kawhi gets that contract, why can't I get that contract? I'm an all-star, right? So now he's not playing, right? So I just think that in their current status, we keep saying if everybody's healthy, if they all play together, then they're a championship. They're never going to all be healthy at the same time. It's just not happening. And God bless Tyronn Lue.
Man,
I mean, he's making something out of nothing, isn't he? Cool. Ty Lue has, since Iverson stepped over him, has been turning water into wine in the NBA, hasn't he? And I feel bad for him because he's in a situation now where if they don't win with this team, he's going to get fired. He's going to get black coached, basically, right? And that is all under Kawhi Leonard's watch, and it's on him, in my opinion. This all rests on Kawhi Leonard's shoulders. And we can't not blame this guy anymore because he has not played. I mean, this guy has been on the season. He's been on the Clippers for 4 seasons now at this point, and he hasn't played a full season. I'm not saying he hasn't played a full season out of the 4. I'm saying total games played have not equated to 82 games yet. So that being said, I mean, this team is not going to be good. They're the Lakers' little bro again, right? You know, I mean, yeah, sure, they're gonna be a middle of the pack playoff team, first round exit, in my opinion. And I honestly don't want to see them in the playoffs because I know they're not going to compete. I mean, going back to the bubble, we thought that they were chip ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
If any team was going to go to the chip, it was that team, and they wanted to leave the bubble. Like, this is a Kawhi culture. This is a Kawhi-led team. This is what it looks like when he's at
the puppet master,
the groundbreaking, right? He's at the breaking ground ceremony. This is what it looks like. So that's where I'm at with it, man. You know, go ahead and wave the white flag for me.
Yeah.
I'm not rocking with the Clippers. I'm not looking forward to their playoff run. And I'm just ready for them to get out of there now.
That was a record bloviation by Black Mo right there. That was intense. Leak, the floor is yours.
And Leak, I'll take your comments. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I can't say much. That was quite the bird, if you will. What a visceral take. Like, what a visceral take. Scorching even. I would call Cap with the Kawhi games played, and obviously he has played more than 82 in these 4 seasons he's been there. But I mean, at this point, why? Why even try to? That would be me trying to defend the situation. It's not defendable anymore. It's not. Kawhi Leonard, you know, when he has been on the floor, he's been excellent, and that's something that I hold on to. You know, in his tenure with the Clippers, he averaged 25 points per game, 7 rebounds a game. You know, 38% from deep, 48 from the field, almost 49. You know, and so, you know, he's been excellent, you know, playoff appearances, you know, strong playoff performances, but you got to be available. You got to be available. And I mean, I would say you're right. His leave of absence, if that's the term that we want to use, it's affected Paul George. All right. You know, now this guy thinks that he can, coast, take a night off. You know, the guy's doing Netflix and chill when the Clippers are on the road playing against, a playoff caliber team in the East.
Right.
And it's just not right. It's not right. These guys want to be held to the highest order of superstars, endorsements. They both have shoe deals. The young guys look up to them. That not only are they the GOATs on the team, but they're also the vets on the team.
Right.
And they do have a coach in Tyronn Lue. He is a GOAT coach. He's one of the greatest of all time. He is he's the only person to come back from down 3-1 in a finals, let alone a playoff series. He's coached the likes of LeBron James, All right, and all those other washed goats that ran through Cleveland in LeBron's last stint. D Rose, Dwayne
Dwayne
Wade,
Wade.
you
Mhm.
know. So this guy's got the cachet. A lot of a lot of guys don't talk about how Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in tandem, uh, you know, killed Doc. You know,
Yeah.
they killed Doc in tandem. They committed a crime, a conspiracy to
Mhm.
kill Coach, and they did that and they got away with it.
Yeah.
And they were blessed with a replacement in Tyronn Lue. All right. Steve Ballmer has been going in his pocketbook, all right, since he's got there, trying to make sure these guys have whatever they arguably have the most versatile roster in the league
Mhm.
with several guys 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" that could defend multiple positions. They can play small ball with the best of them, while still maintaining size. So all the failures of the Clippers are an indictment on Kawhi Leonard. I'll agree with that. Now, with that being said, I am leaving space for them to capture the Larry O this year.
Oh,
I
snap.
am leaving space. When Kawhi Leonard is healthy, when he's on the floor, he's nothing short of excellent. And Paul George has been playing very well too. And all the role players are prime. They've been brewing and stirring in that pot for a long time, waiting for that opportunity. Yeah, they fumbled the bubble. All right. But aside from LeBron James, who didn't? All right.
That's a
Uh,
fact.
so I'm not necessarily holding that against them too much. That is an indictment on their resume, absolutely. Particularly Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and even Doc Rivers. That was a shortcoming of a magnitude capacity. However,
Doc was with the homicide. Let's be very clear
he
about
was
that. You can
he was
start with them.
he, he was compliant. All right, let's be very clear. He was looking for a way out, even right.
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 He might have saw the writings on the wall with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Also, being that Paul George had a relationship with Doc's daughter, and pretty much did her in a dishonorable way, to say the least. All right.
Right.
So I think Doc had enough of that situation. He
Mhm.
needed to get out. He made his move, and quite frankly, he scapegoated Kawhi and Paul George to get out, while simultaneously forming the narrative that he was killed by Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
Right.
So this murder mystery runs very deep over there. All right. All right. Only a hoop historian can really go in and clean out that debris to find out what's really going on over there.
The ballistics report, right?
The ballistics, right? You got to see the shrapnel and how it hit all parts of the franchise. But let's be clear on that firearm, Kawhi Leonard's the claws fingerprints are there. Let's be clear. And PG hasn't been so PG-13 with his stint too, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I got no pushback for you, Black. I did come with pushback initially, but the rant was so goated. I can't really go there. I'll just say this: I'm leaving space, like lightweight, like on some new age stuff. I'm holding space. All right, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yo, that was classic, fellas. We got to go to this next team, man. I'm very irritated by this team because they have a player in which I really enjoy. I really love. I love what he's made of. But I just feel like the franchise is not building anything around him, and there's no end in sight. I'm talking about the Blazers, and I'm specifically talking about Dame Lillard. Black, we'll start with you, man. What do you think is going on with the Blazers, and are they in purgatory to stay?
Man, I'm gonna keep it quick, man. It's that contract that you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that loyalty contract, which means we can't get stars to come to this city, so we better hold on to the one we got so we can sell tickets because we know we're not going to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
It's that contract.
Right.
You know, they were able to remain competitive throughout this era, right? On the backs of Dame Lillard, right? One of the most exciting and clutch players the NBA has ever seen. But that's where it starts and that's where it ends. And I think as long as he's making $50 million a year, they're not going to be able to sign anybody else that complements him any better than the players that he already has.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to really draft well and make proper trades and free agency signings in order to stay afloat, basically. And I don't see them winning a championship anytime soon, at least not in this era. So for me, I just think they're just a hashtag second round exit. You know, like that's their peak, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. Lee, what you think, man?
You know, yeah, they're pretty much middle of the pack. They're like the definition of that. Damian Lillard is a great player. I got a lot of respect for him. Loyalty contract is a thing.
We lost Lee.
Yeah,
he's about to cook too.
Right.
No,
look at his face. Right.
Right.
Look like he's about to cook. Right.
Am I back?
Oh, there we go. I got you back.
All right. So yeah, he'll be making $60 million next season. He'll be the highest paid player in history of the league. No player has ever clocked.
What has he done to deserve that? Right.
Well, he's been a beacon of hope for a franchise that hasn't had a light of day since Bill Walton, right?
Yeah.
You know, he single-handedly has kept that franchise above water, right above water, right? Right above sea level. So, you know, I think Dame's put in the work to you know, if that's what the market is, that's what the market is. You know, that's the cost of loyalty for Portland. If I was Dame, I wouldn't have did it. I would have went somewhere else. I'd have probably tried to be that guy that was paired with Joel Embiid prior to James Harden being moved to Philly. I think he would have thrived in that situation and made Philadelphia a real contender with Embiid, Dame, Maxey, you know, and the rest of those guys, and send Ben Simmons to Eugene. You know, I just you know, wherever that is, I just sent him there to PDX. You know what I mean?
Right, PDX.
But yeah, middle of the pack, middle of the road, not moving the needle. I like Simons. I like what they got, but nobody's going to come play there that's going to be able to really shift the way that team competes in the playoffs. It's literally all on Dame. And quite frankly, I don't really care for the hero job no more. I don't really care for the antics. You know, I don't really care for 30 shots plus a night. I don't really care for 15 heaves from behind the arc a night.
From the logo, right?
Not worried about logo Lillard. All right. It's very cute pre-All-Star break. I admit. All right. All right. It's very cute. But once the rigmarole sets in, once the gears start grinding, you know, you will see Portland start to regress back to their natural state, which is a fringe playoff team.
Right.
You know, and if they do get in the playoffs, it'll be by the hair of Dame's chinny chin chin. And then he'll have to fight Butterball or Butterbean in the postseason. We all know he gets knocked out every time. So, you know, that's just where that's at. I don't really know what they do. I don't really know where they go. It's just they just are.
Yeah, they just exist.
And that's where I'll leave it.
Yeah. I think that's
Dame
a great
is
place.
Dame is on Kawhi Leonard watch. in my opinion, as well.
I think he's
Yeah,
built up a little
why?
equity.
You gotta give him more credit than that. You gotta give him more credit.
I think
Last year he
I'm
had the
just
rib
saying, listen, I'm
injury.
just saying, the eyes emoji on Dame
Ah,
in the text thread.
all right. Well, fellas, we got our last purgatory team. I need your takes on. We're talking Detroit basketball.
Yo, this has been a thick episode
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah, you got some meat to it.
But a lot of guys like these teams. These are very on a league pass
Mhm.
night, right? These
Right.
teams are filling up the billboard. You
Yep.
know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
You're seeing more of these Purg teams than not on a
Yes.
nightly basis.
Right.
All of your favorite players are getting their numbers and making their MVP cases against these Purg teams.
Right.
So
Right.
they do play a part in the league. You know, they're like
Right.
the algae of the league that these predators thrive off of, you know, on a night-to-night basis for nutrients. You know what I mean? So they play a part. It is good.
They're almost like the canvas in which elite teams paint, right?
That's right. They're the sparring partners to where teams get their katas correct. You know what I mean?
Yo, I'm
You
dead.
just look. You land in Detroit.
Cramp.
You land in Detroit, right? You know, you have a good breakfast, you have a good meal, you get a good shoot around, all right. And when the game starts, when tip off happens, you run that set into the ground, all right. You run that set over and over and over and over, all right. It's rep night, all right. That's what they're on. You know, same play over and over and over again. Make them stop it. At the end of the game, we'll figure something out. We'll see where we're at then. You know.
Right. It's
nah,
almost like a scrimmage, right?
Right.
Well, fellas, man, I think we in unison agree. Detroit is just another one of these Purg teams.
Right. Yeah. We can skip. Yeah.
Let's move
that pretty much was the take, right? Yeah.
That was it.
Oh, they embody purgatory, basically.
Right.
Well, here's a team that I personally thought was, and still currently kind of feel that they've been in purgatory for quite some time, but there's light at the end of the tunnel, or should I say, there's a beam at the end of the tunnel. We're talking about the Kings, the beam team. I'm going to let you guys go on this one. Black, I want to know, are the Kings leaving the purgatory? Is this their time?
Cowbell, ding, 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 ding. Paradigm shift. Lee, could I get the screen real quick?
Yeah. Let's see.
Paradigm shift. The Kings are back.
Ooh.
Okay.
The Kings are back. I mean, they pretty much have become a media darling at this point, right?
At this point,
everybody wants in on the Kings business, and so does Black Mo. Right? That shows you how low I'll go in order to stay on the pulse of the NBA, right? Where I will give up my whole culture, pretty much, to stand on the edge and say the Kings are back. Right? No, but on a serious note, though,
Come here.
I think that the Kings have a legitimate chance to make a solid little playoff run. Right? The fan base seems like they're all in.
Right.
The marketing team has been incredible.
Incredible.
You know, let's just be honest. This beam thing is taking the world by storm.
Very creative.
You got memes coming out the wazoo.
Right.
From all over the internet. And the Kings have never been in this type of conversation before. Right. Yeah. So I think that right there got Adam Silver at the laptop. You know, Adam Silver already cooked up how the NBA is going to end this season. Right. He already has his draft sent in. It's been edited. Right. It's been approved by sponsors. Right. Now we talking about this is real hoop talk now. Right. Yeah. Adam Silver has already cooked up how this thing is going to go. And he's looking at the numbers on the Sacramento Kings, and he's saying to himself, I need more cowbell. I need more cowbell. I mean, De'Aaron Fox playing statistically one of the, if not the most clutch player in the league right now.
Man.
He's averaging 25 points a game. Ja Morant giving him respect, right? He's the player that Ja Morant thinks he is at this point, right? You got Kevin Huerter. I mean, he's in the very, very small conversation for best three-point shooting season of all time at this point. On the amount of threes that he takes, averaging 50% from Trey. I mean, this is unheard of, right? This is unheard of, right? Yeah, you got Sabonis stepping into his role as one of the cornerstones of this franchise, as somebody that you can rely on, playing the CP3, playing the C Web role, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
High post.
Okay.
Look for cutters. I mean, this offense is fast. This offense is exciting. I want to say they're number 3. They're the third offense as far as rating goes in the NBA this season. They're exciting to watch. You don't want to miss one of their games, even if it's a loss. They're in the thick of things. They've got a revitalized energy, a revitalized fan base. And, I can't sing any more praises. We saw them on national TV. Eat Kevin Durant's food.
Yeah.
In front of everyone. Right? I can't say enough. I think Sacramento is on their way up. I think they're going to put together a nice little postseason run. I think they're better than the play-in my opinion. Do I think they're going to get past the first round? No, but I think that they're going to have an exciting exit, and it's going to look up for the future. And they put the league on notice. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a star, if they get somebody of note coming out there, right? I would say, to me, they still need something. In my opinion, I think it's a vet. And in my opinion, I think it's a vocal vet that can give them some toughness on the floor. But outside of that, I'm chewing up the clock right now. Leak. The Kings got me excited, fellas. The Kings got me excited.
Leak, what's your take on the Kings? Do you share those sentiments?
I have a beam. As spoken by the illustrious Martin Luther Beam Jr. All right. The Kings are back, baby. The Kings are back. All right. I'm in the closet trying to find my Fat Farm jeans. Right? I'm trying to find my oversized Rockaware tee. Right? I'm looking for my G-Unit puffer. Okay. All right. and I'm looking for an extra sock to buff up that my feet. All right. Not only are the Kings back, but Sacramento is back. All right. I'm riding around listening to what is it? The
Blueprint.
Yeah. 2001's Blueprint. All right. Takeover. All right. The Kings are playing excellent right now. Very exciting. And yes, De'Aaron Fox looks great. All right. He is the clutchest player in the league as of today. Let's be clear. Kevin Porter shooting amazing. Red Velvet is what they've been calling him. Malik Monk has been a spark off the bench that could ignite a TNT factory. All right. Listen, man, the Kings are back, but all of those players that I just mentioned are not going to get the brunt of the credit from me. I'm going to rest that credit on the coach, Michael Brown. All right. This guy is charismatic. He's tenured. He's a diplomat. All right. He's a hoop connoisseur. All right. You can tell this guy just loves to be around the game. All right. He's damn near a politician when it comes to basketball. You know what I mean? If you hear
He's
this
a
guy
hoop
talk,
Republican, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. You know, this guy is an ambassador for the game when you hear him talk. You know what I mean? He just finished a stint with Golden State where he won a chip. He also helped the elevation of one Jordan Poole. And he coached LeBron James, took him on a couple runs to the finals one time. Mike Brown's just been around the league. He's been around. And now he's back with his own situation. And I do believe the Kings are for real. That offense is something to speak about. They've had the highest offensive rating since the merger in the late 70s. All right. Offensive rating of 127, I think, per outing. I mean, this is high powered at its finest. And if that's the level that they can reach in a 7-8 game stint, then I'm very excited about where they level out to. All right, as one of the top offenses in the league. And if they can get it clicking on defense, then that's going to be a strong team right there. Sabonis, extremely physical, being a strong presence. I mean, that guy's practically fighting out there, right? When he's looking for a bucket. He's practically in combat with the defense when he's trying to score. De'Aaron Fox has looked every bit as advertised. I think he will be an all-star this year. I'm just loving what the Kings got going on, and they got to keep it going. Like you said, Black, they're even exciting when they lose. All right. So I'm here for it. The beam is lit. Right? And I'm ready to ride that beam until you can't see anymore. That's really where it's at with me.
Yeah. It's definitely a different energy in the city. You know, so we're excited to see what's going on with the Kings, man. We're excited to see.
Mark,
I'm gonna
willing to turn it around.
You sound reluctant, Mark.
I'm not there yet, fellas. I think even an alley cat finds a whole chicken in the garbage once in a while. Like, I mean, I'm looking at I'm sorry, guys. I didn't want to do this. I was gonna literally just not say nothing. Fellas, they're 10-8. I think that's great. I think that's really great. I'm excited. They won 7 straight, but I just need a little bit more. I just need more. I just need some more. I mean, we're talking about a 10-8 team here, fellas. But it is cause for celebration in this city. So I'm not going.
That just shows you how bad Purgatory's been for
right.
them, right? And that's what this episode is all about, right?
I'm scarred.
Like,
I have trauma.
This is a team that's working its way out of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So the excitement it's palpable. It
galvanizes a whole American territory, right? You know, when a team can kick, scratch, and crawl his way out of purgatory. All right.
Yes. So we're looking for more, but man, we are definitely excited for what the Kings are doing, man. Keep that beam going.
Yeah, there's a beam shooting out of purgatory, right? We don't know where it's going, but all we know is it's shooting out, and it looks like it's thriving. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. All right, fellas, we got to talk about the Taiwanese Player of the Year. We're talking about Dwight Howard. And he finally clapped back, or, you know, I watched it. He finally responded to Shaquille O'Neal's criticism. So I don't know, fellas, did we have the Shaq clip, or do we want to just, you know, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay, we can play a Shaq clip. Okay. Yeah. So Shaq, this is what he had to say, and Dwight Howard responded. Not mad at it at all.
Shaq just can't get it right.
Yeah, as Leak gets the clip, man. Black, what do you think about everything, man? Do you think it was like, love taps, or do you think there was something more there?
Well, I feel like Shaq has always had something against Dwight Howard in particular. But I think Shaq, man, and a lot of these ex-athletes, man, they're just mad.
Yeah.
They're just mad. They're mad, and they're capitalizing off the hate.
Yes.
Right? They're capitalizing off being a talking head and hating on modern NBA.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. And Shaq is one of the biggest proponents of this business model. You know, he knows how his bread's buttered, and he's just gonna keep on doing. He's a habitual line stepper. Right? He's gonna keep doing this until he gets back down enough to fall back, and then he's gonna do it again to someone else.
Yes.
I mean, we saw us with JaVale McGee. Well, I'll just let Dwight Howard. I'll let him tell it.
Is he not?
Hey, what you got, man?
He's killing it. He's running the point.
He killing it, ain't he, Shaq? You want to give him his props finally?
You want to give him his or you want me to have facts?
Facts. Nothing but.
League, I think you might need to mute.
You should never be complimented for being a
What's
good
up?
father.
You might need to mute your mic.
He's supposed to have 30 points playing against Duke 5'8".
There you go. He killing it,
Great
man.
job.
Look at that. That man attempted 10 threes, man. Come on, Shaq. You attempted 2 threes in your whole career. He did 10 in one night. Come on, Shaq.
Listen, this league reminds me of the Lifetime Fitness League. Every Saturday when I go work out on Saturday.
Lifetime Fitness League.
Yeah, Lifetime Fitness League. Cut it out.
You don't do 38 and 25 rebounds and 9 assists.
Okay.
Come on, man. 4 blocks.
Great job, Dwight. I'm proud of you.
First thing I want to say is you got to stop hating, brother. You got to stop hating. I ain't never in my life came at you about your basketball career, your family, your kids, or anything of the sort. Because there's no need to. The world is too big to hate on another man. So I've never in my life hated on you as a man, as a basketball player, anything like that. Have I joked about, mimicked your voice? Have I mimicked what I see on TV? Everybody do that. Comedians do that. People do that all the time. And I do it all the time. I do that to everybody. But I do not hate on people. I know I show love to everyone in the world. So stop hating. I saw a video of you talking about me playing basketball in Taiwan. And I'm playing at the Lifetime Fitness League. Do not disrespect my teammates in this league and these people in Taiwan like that. That is highly disrespectful. And it's hating. And you too old to be hating. You too big to be hating. You're supposed to be Superman. The original Superman. Shaquille O'Neal. The original Superman is hating.
Dwight got he got his zen going in the background. You know what I mean? He's in a better place. Like he don't need that. He don't need this energy. But yeah, so Black, were you finish your thought on this thing, man?
Orlando. Obviously, you are big. You go to Orlando. You know the comparison's gonna stop.
Shannon got to take, right?
We got Shannon.
He's getting ready to cook. You get Orlando, right?
Manny was about to make sense of this.
I was just gonna say, man, Shaq has made a living doing this, right? Hated on JaVale. Shaq and the fool. Basically, he used JaVale as a springboard to get his platform off, right? With the Shaq and the fool. Once that got too hot, he fell back. He fell back off that until it was time to hate on somebody else.
Right.
So I just feel like this is something that Shaq does. I'm glad that Dwight Howard called him out for doing it because, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, you're really just hating on the man and not what he's doing, right? Because he had a great game, right?
Yep.
So you're really just hating on him. It's personal at that point.
Yeah.
You're not talking about hoop. You're not talking about what happened on the floor. You're taking a rib at the man personally, and that's whack to me. I don't got respect for that. And I'm Shaq. Listen, he was a Laker. He's a Laker legend. We won championships with Shaq, but I've lost a lot of respect for Shaq post career.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq has probably had one of the worst post careers, in my opinion, when it comes to public image.
Right.
I don't like the more I see of Shaq, the less I like him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I think it's whack. Shout out to Dwight for standing up for himself and for the people of Taiwan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had Taiwan's back, right? So yeah, man, Shaq's whack for that. Leak, man, you could go in.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be quick, man. I mean, I don't think Shaq said no. I'm just playing. I'm not gonna do that. Not today's climate. We're not doing that. Shaq is a buffoon, a coon, and any other word that rhymes with a oon at the end of it, that's a bad thing to be as a black man. All right. Shaq, just with a bit of context, Shaq is the same guy that criticized Kyrie Irving, called him an idiot for posting a link to that movie, Hebrews and Negroes. When Shaq Shaq actually gave it a platform, a bigger one than a Twitter, by putting it in his physical movie theater. And he hasn't said anything about that. So Shaq is a go along to get along. If I ever seen one. And although he's very successful in business, I guess this is the type of personality you need in order to do that, huh? This guy's been throwing NBA players, particularly bigs, under the bus. It's almost like he's jealous he doesn't play in this era. And I'm glad for Dwight Howard to stand up for himself. Like you said, Black, listen, it's a long Dwight Howard on that bus ride. That's a long bus ride from Chiayi to Tapai City. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure he had a lot of time to contemplate, right? You know what I mean? And he galvanized up the muscle that he needed to defend himself against this guy, Shaquille O'Neal. And hey, man, if this is where Dwight is happy at. This is where he wants to be. All of these guys are getting paid to play basketball for a living. All right. Dwight's made his mark on the league. All right. Dwight's had an impact on the league. Dwight's made his money. So if this is what Dwight wants to do, then this is what he wants to do. And Shaq, you should be bigging up Dwight Howard, what he's doing over there, because not only does it make the game bigger, but it also puts a spotlight on NBA players and showing how dominant they are in other leagues.
Mm-hmm.
You got a guy like Dwight, who was, a rotational player at best at this point in his career, and he's going over there and dominating. It just shows to go you the level of talent that you need in order to thrive in the league. So Shaq is just hating. I'm not a fan of it. I don't approve. And, honestly, if I could, I would go to Golden One. I would take that shooter that beam is coming out of, and I would aim it at TNT Studio. Right? And I would aim it right at that center of Shaq's chest where that Superman logo is at. And I'll see just how strong this man is when he's faced with that beam coming from Sacktown.
Man, you guys, I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree 100%, man. Shaq he's been more trouble than he's worth, man. Even like on the court, we know. I mean, this is a guy that didn't fulfill his potential. As great as he was, he left food on the table.
Right.
Just listen to the late great Kobe Bryant. He'll tell you. And so I really don't want to hear his hating. He hates on the players of bigs of old and current bigs. And I mean, he's just a very envious, kind of jealous guy at his core. I think, and she tries to mask it with this jolly persona, but he's just really a hateful person deep down, man. So
he's the Hulk Hogan of the NBA.
Yes,
bro.
yes, Black. I couldn't have said it better myself. Man. But we're gonna move to the next topic, which is we talked about the Kings and kind of them changing course from really our last few episodes. Well, Utah, let's talk about them. On our last few episodes, we highlighted how great they're playing, surprisingly. Do we still feel like they're that team, or are they regressing back to their true essence? Black, we'll start with you, man.
I think they're starting to come back down to earth. They're leveling off a bit. Leak brought to my attention. I didn't realize their last 10 games they only won 3, so they are stabilizing a bit. But I do think it's interesting though that in a season where they lose their 2 stars, right? Their 2 cornerstones, to the point where we were talking about them leading the pack when it came to the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, that they're still in a playoff hunt at this point. So I think that, praise should be given to not only the coach, but also to those guys, those unwanted toys, for lack of a better term, who've come over, particularly Lauri Markkanen, who've come over and are really showing the NBA that they're not someone who's meant to be looked over, that they're not somebody who you just fly in and run set after set after set of that pick and roll, right? You have to actually bring a little bit of an A game for these guys. Right. So I think it's an interesting juxtaposition of some of those other teams that we talked about at the first half of the episode to now. They're easing their way into a rebuild. They have some pieces that could be traded for draft picks or players. And I think they also are structured in a way to where even if they didn't make a move, they would still be competitive in the current status of the NBA. So I think the Jazz are in solid shape, but I don't think that they're going to be taking the league by storm in any fashion this season.
Yeah, I think that's a solid place to land too. Leak, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think what we thought the Jazz were going to be is actually what the Kings are doing right now. Jazz, like you said, Black, they've skidded. They've lost 7 of their last 10. And quite frankly, it looks like they are starting to normalize into more of a purgatory situation. They do still have a nice roster with some pieces. I could see them moving them at some point and bolstering up some contenders around them. Danny Ainge kind of being like an arms dealer, so to speak, or supplying weaponry to top Western Conference and Eastern Conference teams. I do like Colin Sexton. I do like Lauri Markkanen. I even like Kelly Olynyk. I like Jordan Clarkson, but I just don't. No, Melo, no. You're supposed to be hurt right now. Remember? So I don't see them making any moves as far as in a serious way. I do see that the Jazz are Melo. No, touch. I do see that the Jazz are 3-1 at home.
Ooh.
So if they can continue that stance and that streak, I'll just say this: Utah may be the last place opposing team wants to get snowed in.
Yo, absolutely, man. We definitely gonna keep an eye on Utah. Now, one thing we gotta talk about, fellas, is recently LeBron was kind of going viral for his lies that were being caught, at different points in his career. So I think we should go ahead and play this clip, this cringe-worthy clip of one of the greatest players in the world lying through his teeth.
One, the number one Migos fan. After the tragic death of Migos member Takeoff, the King took to social media to share his tributes to the iconic rap star. LeBron was clearly a fan, but just how devoted a follower is he? James talked about his love for Migos during a press conference. I was listening to those guys my first year with the Heat in 2010. You can ask any one of my teammates back then. They had no idea who Migos was. I was like, I'm telling you, these guys are next LeBron James. The chosen one was first first on the bandwagon, except the bandwagon in question didn't exist yet. Migos didn't drop their first mixtape until 2011. Their first studio album didn't release until 2015. It's possible LeBron simply got his dates mixed up, or King James was attempting to impress us all with just how long he'd been a listener and just how good he is at predicting the future. Speaking of LeBron's psychic powers, 2, predicting Kobe's big game. In 2006, Kobe Bryant put on one of the greatest shows in basketball history. The Black Mamba was
Like, this is the meme, right?
unstoppable scorer, but in a game against the Toronto Raptors, Bryant scored 81 points. Nobody saw this performance coming except LeBron James. Before the game even started, I said he's probably gonna score 70 tonight. I don't know what made me say that.
Like, why, Brian?
With me, and they was like, okay. When he hit 70,
Why would
I
you
was
say
like,
that?
Might as well go for 80 now. LeBron
Like,
James.
what would give him
It's
that
important to
inkling?
note that James claims his friend was present at the time of this stunning prediction. That means there were witnesses. Fortune tellers bowed down to the king. 3, the book review. In addition to having one of basketball's best on-court IQs, James is an intellectual away from the game. A glimpse at LeBron's
Allegedly,
social
right?
media, and you bet he's a bookworm. Only when James was quizzed on his current
Yo,
read
the
of Malcolm
images
X's
alone
book,
show the
his
cap,
review
right?
was, well,
Right.
a little vague. I kind of just started a couple of days ago, but I've read a lot of
Leak,
notes.
leak,
over
you
the years.
you
It's
already
my
gotta
first time
you gotta
actually
play that
reading it
vid
from
that I
start to
sent you,
finish.
man.
He's
We have
just
the
a
audio
very-
of this
a very smart
particular
man.
interview.
A
We have the audio of this particular. I just want to hear him say it. I want to hear him say it because it's gone too far. While you're getting that leak, it's gone too far. I mean, Bron is the definition of someone who lies to kick it,
Mhm.
basically, right?
Yeah. Just cuz.
LeBron is a habitual liar.
Yeah.
And we have video evidence of this. We have receipts. We have, some of the internet's best fact checkers have gone back into the vaults and found cases where there was no reason to. There was no reason to tell your boy that Kobe Bryant was going to score 70 points before that Toronto game. There was no reason. Yet
It didn't happen.
Allegedly did, right? Listen, you can look at LeBron James' hairline and tell that he's all cap. All right. He's not fooling anyone. All right. With that crown. Right.
Yeah, man. It's just embarrassing too because no one's making you do this. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get caught in it's like, man, I gotta weasel my way out of this one. But he's bringing this on himself. Like you said, he's the definition of got a lie to kick it.
Right.
No one's making him do this.
Right. Nobody told him that he has to put this stuff out in the ethos. Right?
Exactly.
From him sitting in the back of the whip, rhyming lyrics that have nothing to do with the song.
Right.
To him being in the weight room, turning up to unreleased Meek Mill. It's all for show, right? It's all for clout. Leak, you should have it in the thread. You're muted.
We can't hear you.
The link's been up for a while, so it won't allow me to play it. So
Okay.
I'll have to find it in another manner. But I think something like I think I do have something. Are you talking about from the show, from the shop show?
No, I was talking about the when he was reading he was reading the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Okay. Man,
if you can't find it, I don't want to hold us up, but
no, I got some right here. Let's see.
Because that was just egregious, man. That was egregious to me.
Yeah. It's yeah, man. It's not a good look for him at all, man.
No.
But yeah, I got some right here. Let's see. Let's see.
For no reason. And before you say it, no, I don't know him. I don't have proof. But just watch these clips. Look at his body language and what he's saying. It's pretty obvious he may not be telling the truth on all these. Let's get started.
It is a question
This is a great one.
not related to the game, but since it has been a lot of publicity yesterday and today about Godfather Part 2, which is the scene or the moment or the phrase or the quote you like more from the movie?
Oh, from Godfather. There's too many different phrases and too many different lines in that movie to just categorize one.
But which is the one which inspires you, represents you more?
I mean, each movie is 9 hours long. I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, there's so many. I don't know. I'll let you pick one. I'll roll with it. It's a great trilogy.
Okay, right away.
Mind you, he has said he was watching it every day.
These movies can be hard to remember, and some.
He said he was watching it every day.
In the autobiography of Malcolm X, along with Alex Haley. I don't know how far you are into the book, but what's your biggest takeaway so far?
I kind of just started a couple days ago, but I've read and a lot of notes over the years. It's my first time actually reading this from start to finish. But just a very smart man. And basically, his words in the 60s and what was going on is actually what's going on today still.
This one shouldn't be too surprising. We all know LeBron James is the king of many things, but when it comes to reading the first pages of books, there's no one better. With that being said, that was probably the last time he brought one to a press conference.
I watched the whole game. I seen the whole game. I was at home watching the game, and I said he was going to, before the game even started, when I seen, I said he was probably going to score 70 tonight. I don't know what made me say that, and my friends was with me, and they was like,
"We don't know."
So when he got to like 70, I was like, well, he might as well go for 80 now. So I mean, I'm a fan of the game, and to see that performance was unbelievable.
That's right, guys.
Like, Ron just want to put himself in the narrative, right?
Yes, he wants to be involved somehow.
Yeah, there's a lot more where that came from too. I'm sure.
So yeah, that was trending this week all over social media. Well, actually, this past few weeks. I just can't even, man.
Have we ever seen a goat lie like this?
Huh?
Have we ever seen a goat lie like this?
Nah.
Not to my face.
They usually don't have a reason to. They're so successful, so decorated. You know what I mean? They got so much cachet. So much skin in the game. I mean, it's really perplexing. Honestly, it just shows you the core of LeBron's character. I would say.
Yep. Well, we'll be out. We'll be looking out for more lies to come, fellas. We're almost at the end of the show, man. We definitely got to touch on the tank watch. We got to go check out that metrics that we've set up here and see who's tanking for. I can't say his name, y'all. Wembanyama. There we go. So who we got, man? Black. What you think, man? What's your thoughts on the tank list?
Ironically, several Perg teams.
Yeah.
Right. Several Perg teams.
What do you know? Right.
Into the lotto. You've got Detroit, you've got Orlando and Houston. Those three to me stand out because those three teams have been in the top 3 or 5 for the last 5 seasons at this point. So to me, I said this last episode, I'm going to say it again. The league is going to have to do something about the way the lotto is set up moving forward in order to avoid teams having multiple seasons in the bottom 3. I mean, you can't keep rewarding teams for being bad. And that's what's happening right now. And we see that with Houston, Orlando, and Detroit. They've just been perpetually bad. Like we talked about Purgatory. They're worse than Purgatory at this point. So, don't be surprised if these 3 teams jockey for position towards the end of the season when it comes down to it, with San Antonio breaking in there at some point as well. But yeah, man, tank watch is starting to get a little ugly. I'll just leave it at that.
Leak, what you think, man?
Yeah, man. This reminds me of like like Dante's Inferno, and like a whole bunch of arms reaching up and grabbing, one person who's trying not to get pulled down to the depths of hell. And that person would be Victor Wembanyama, and all those arms would be these teams on this list. So that's pretty much
That's a
pretty
great
much
picture, right? That's a great picture. It's funny. It's like Detroit, Orlando, and Houston. You know how you could pin posts to Instagram now? You know that feature? Just go ahead and pin them to the 1, 2, 3 spot.
Just pin them there. They're not going anywhere. Just pin them there. Right.
Yeah. Lock them in.
All right.
Well, fellas, we've reached the end of another dope episode of the No Hezzy Hoopcast, man. I had a blast hanging with you both. Do us a huge favor to all our listeners, anyone listening or viewing this, do us a huge favor and subscribe if you're listening on podcast platforms. Leave us a review on a podcast platform and subscribe on YouTube. Like this video, share this video. We got to get this message out here, man, because we bring in this heat, talking hoops. So we want you to be a part of it, and we want everyone to check us out here at No Hezzy. Fellas, any final words? Black, we'll start with you.
Man, this episode has been like one of those Chappelle stand-ups, like where he just pull up to the club unexpected and go in for like 5 hours. It's feel like one of those, right? Where like he just got the cigarette out, like he went through a whole pack throughout the set, right? And everybody just in tears, is like dying laughing. That's what this episode felt like. I'm proud to be a part of it. I appreciate you guys, and your hoop intellect. And I look forward to many more this season.
Absolutely. Lee?
Hey, man, it's always a pleasure hopping on with the gang, talking hoops, talking the lingo. All right. Nobody can do it like us. Let's be very clear. And that might be some food being delivered, but also, so it is time for me to go. Actually, real quick, hold on, real quick.
Nobody can do it like this, man. Hoop culture, right? This is the barbershop, right?
Right. This is how it goes.
And what it is.
The barber dip to go sell something real quick. You know what I mean?
Hey, real quick. Also, I want to give a shout out to my guy Jason at 5 Levels. This is the number 5 Levels _. Jason is one of my friends that I met online. He developed this amazing concept of a new way to look at scoring on the floor. So I'm actually wearing his shirt. 5 level score.
5 levels.
Right? And what that is at the rim, the floater range where you need some sort of finesse shot, something like a hook or maybe a float. The free throw line, the mid-range, also the 3-point line, and now we're in the era of the deep three. All right. If you can develop those 5 levels of scoring, you will become a master at picking apart defenses, as we see guys like Stephen Curry, Damian Lillard, LaMelo Ball, even Luka Doncic, James Harden. The list goes on and on and on. Even Bron's adopted the 5th level with shooting from the logo at a point. So he sent me this shirt. So I just want to give a shout out to my boy Jay at 5 levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, that Twitter is 5, the number 5 levels _. So I think this thing is going to continue to grow. So yeah, it's an amazing concept. So I like people looking at the game from a different perspective. From as a purist, we also like to see the revamping of the ideology. You know what I mean? So get on the right side of history with this one.
Yeah,
the 5 levels are coming. Trae Young. You know what I mean? The list just keeps going. This is the future of scoring as far as mentality. So, but yeah, man. Other than that, it's always great to be on with you guys. As you know, my food has just arrived. So,
all right, y'all.
Any last words, man?
Nah, man. Like I said, I'm having a great time with this one. This was a very dope episode, and we hope you enjoyed it as well. Till next time, this is No Hezzy, and we out. Peace.
Peace.